Okay. So in the last session, we just gone through the few concepts, few topics. So like recurring interest invoice, recurring invoice, third party payments, cross currency, holds and supplier refund, and aging, right? So these are the concepts we just gone through. And today's session will just work on conversions. After completing the conversions, we'll just go with these concepts. Okay. So today we'll focus on conversions, supplier conversion and open invoice conversion. Fine. Okay. Okay. Fine. So for today we'll go with this conversions part. Okay. We'll see how to load the suppliers data and open invoices information. So to load this master data of suppliers and transactional data called as open invoices, we have FBDI templates, file-based data import templates. So we know in EBS case what traditional process we follow, right? So being a consultant, we have to prepare the templates. We have to prepare the templates. What process we follow? We prepare templates. And just we'll prepare the templates based on the data collection requirements for master data and transactional data. First we identify which data need to be collected. Accordingly we prepare the template. We may not prepare the templates all the time from scratch. We can use other project templates, and by modifying as per requirement what are the additional data need to be captured, which data we may not require, and that will be just sharing with the business by explaining that each and every column of the template. And after preparing the data, we'll give it to the business users, and we'll collect the data, right? So they'll be just providing all the data, and they'll be sharing with us. Once we collect this data, this will be sharing with the technical team, right? And finally these templates will be converted into flat files. I will say just will convert this data templates into CSV. Convert these files to convert data templates to CSV or any other flat file formats. Those need to be converted. After that, what technical team will do is they'll create the staging tables. Create staging tables. Nothing but custom tables. Then they'll write the program. They'll do a lot of coding, right? They'll do the coding, and they'll be extracting the data from the flat files, and they'll be populating the staging table. There'll be programming is involved, which should be done by technical team. And finally, by using that coding, they'll be populating the data, populate data in staging tables, right? After populating the data, again they have to work on the data for validation. That everything they have to do through coding only. Once the data is validated, again they have to move the data from staging table to interface tables. And once data is available, the validated data and validated data will be moved to interface tables. Once data is available in the interface, we can import data into base tables. So this is a very traditional process we follow. So right from converting the data templates into required format, it could be CSV, any other flat file formats, until moving the data into interface tables. All these activities need to be performed by technical consultant. Just we may prepare the data and collect the data, and just if once data is available in the interface, we can import into base table just by submitting the program. The rest of activities need to be executed by technical consultant. All activities need to be executed by technical consultant in case of EBS. Could be 11I or release 12. Okay, in case of EBS, these all activities should be done by technical resource. But in the fusion, we don't require technical consultants. So equal to these activities, what we have to do in the fusion. So when I talk about this process, okay, in fusion. In fusion, we can just use the concept called as file-based data import. So what process we have to follow as part of this? So in case of EBS, we have to prepare the templates. In fusion, so we can use this file-based data import templates. So we don't need to prepare, we can directly download. The first step would be download FBDI templates from Oracle OER. Okay, so we have Oracle Enterprise Repository. From Oracle Enterprise Repository directly you can go and do download. That is a very open source link. Anyone can go and download it. After downloading, we collect the data. Collect data. Here also we prepared the templates in case of EBS, but in Fusion, if you are going to use Fusion applications, you no need to prepare any template. All the templates are predefined, okay, readily available from Oracle. You have to just go and download. You want to load the suppliers data, just go and download the suppliers template. If you want to load the open invoices, download open invoices template from OER. OER stands for Oracle Enterprise Repository. Okay, from Oracle OER you can download any template. Fine. After that we'll collect the data. We'll share those template with the business. They'll be providing the data. If you share the supplier templates, all the suppliers information they'll be sharing with us. The next step is convert data templates into any one of the flat file format. In case of VBS V2, the same we can do it. It's just a very simple task, okay, which you can just within that spreadsheet itself, they are providing the option to convert the template into CSV file format. Okay, CSV file format will convert the FBDI templates. Okay, convert data templates are nothing but here FBDI templates. Convert data templates nothing but FBDI templates into CSV file formats. Here also we'll do the same. So once the data is ready in that respective format of the files, in case of EBS, so okay, we require staging tables, which are custom tables, need to be created by technical people. But equal to staging tables, in Fusion we have UCM, Universal Content Management. Okay, so equal to this staging, here we have a UCM, Universal Content Management. So once data files are ready in the respective format, we load, okay, files to UCM. So in the CSV file format, we can have data. That data we can populate in the UCM. So saying load, you can say populate. It's a load. It's as this file will be loading. Say load files to UCM, Universal Content Management. After loading the files into UCM, the next step would be what are the data we have in the respective file that has to be populated in the interface table. The next step would be populate data in interface. Directory will be populating the data. How will be loading the file? How will be populating? It's a very functional task. We'll see that how to do it. We'll populate the data in the interface tables. After that, we'll import into base tables.
Lakshman, I have a small question here, Pranati. Yeah, there's no coding here.
That's no coding. Okay, we'll see that. We are going to see now itself. Okay. So this is a pure functional task. No coding is required. So templates are predefined. Just collecting the data, converting it to CSV. The files will be uploading in the UCM, Universal Content Management. And once files are available in the UCM, so by submitting the job, you can populate the data in the targeted interface. And once data is available in the interface, you can import into base tables. And depending on the data, they given the flexibility where you can go to directly interface and you can modify. Can you please keep on mute? I can hear some noise. Okay, depending on the data, okay, we can go to that interface in the process of loading into base table, taking into base tables. If data is available in the interface, directly you can go to interface and you can modify, but that function they are not giving for all type of data which we load. For specific data, for specific data loading process they given, and other than that, if you want to get to know so what is the status of the data in the interface and all? In that case, you have to go and write a query. You have to write a SQL query to fetch the data and to view the status of that. And in the process also, if anything wrong, like it will generate the log file and the error files. Through that, you'll be able to see and understand what's wrong with the data files and everything we can get to know. So that's how we have. So we'll see the process, how the process works. If you have any questions during that process or after completing this, the file-based data import process execution, we can discuss on that. First, we'll start with this and we'll see the process when we are doing this activity. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Or else, if you have any questions right now, please. Okay, any questions from anyone, please? Just to understand the process, what we are going to execute now. If you want to understand, please, any questions? Otherwise, just we'll see this process and we can discuss. Okay, better we'll see. First we'll see so that many questions will be answered in this process itself. If you have any questions to understand this, but this is a typical process which you follow to do the data conversions in Fusion applications. Okay, we'll go with this process. So first now we'll target suppliers data. Okay, we'll go with the suppliers conversion. So we know very well how we created custom supplier in the application, right? Just as a part of payables configuration, we created supplier. How we created? First we created supplier record. It's nothing but supplier profile, right? After supplier profile we created, so we have to create supplier address. After supplier address, we have to create supplier sites. After creating the site, we have to do the site assignment. Okay, and primarily these 4 steps process we followed. Supplier profile creation, nothing but supplier header definition and supplier address. By using that address, we created sites, and those sites we associated with the specific business units. Apart from that, if you want to create, you can create the supplier contacts and supplier qualifications, that pure core procurement related activity. Primarily, these are the 4 steps we followed to create our supplier, right? So to load these data, supplier profiles, address, sites, and assignments, we have 4 separate templates. To load the supplier profiles, we have a supplier template. To load the addresses, we have address template. To load the supplier sites, site template. For assignments, we have a separate template. Now we'll go and download these templates as we discussed. Okay, the process, how it works. First we have to download the templates. If you want to do the supplier conversion, these are the four primary templates. If you want to load the supplier contact information also, we have separate template for that, but that is not very much mandatory for us to do it, so we'll go with this. So first we'll go and download these four templates from Oracle OER. Then we'll just collect the data for reality. But here what we'll do, we'll prepare the data. Here we don't have real process, right, to collect the data from the business. To test this functionality, we'll go and do prepare the data. Okay, we'll prepare the templates with the data. Those will convert into CSV and will upload into UCM, populate the data in the interface, finally import into base tables. Fine. Again, these templates we have to load into application in the same sequence. We'll see that. First, we have to go to Oracle OER. Okay, just go to Google, search with the term called as keyword called as Oracle OER. OER. So you could see Oracle Enterprise Repository for Oracle Fusion Applications, and this is the URL. You could see Fusion Apps OER.oracle.com. This is a subdomain. Okay, to navigate to that OER. Just type with these keywords. Type these keywords in the Google. You can find the first link itself, which will navigate us to OER. Click on that same, and this is the Oracle OER homepage. Now, what we want to load? We want to load the suppliers data. So we need supplier templates. Okay, suppliers data you can find as a part of procurement. Okay, we'll use suppliers in finance also, right? But primarily the suppliers, the actual source of application is procurement. So go to procurement. These are the different offerings. Go to procurement offering. Within the procurement offering, you could see different contents. File-based data import templates. The templates will be available, and procurement related reports version wise, and the roles which we have for procurement, and the SOA related technical information, and the tables and views related to procurement based on the version. There are no big changes version wise, but just there as a part of OER they provide version based, and the rest of some technical information also you could see here. Okay, so now we have to focus on file based data import. Okay, so go to procurement section, go to file based data import. Which version of application we are using? Release 13, right? Release 13. So just click on this release 13, because these templates and everything are version specific. Sometimes release 12 templates also will be supported for release 13 application, sometimes it won't. Okay, so just what process we are following? We are searching for Oracle OER. We are landing on this page. Go to procurement, then click on version. Okay, just click on version. We are landing on this page. Oracle procurement cloud release 13. Fine. In the left side, you have a just a kind of panel. Within that, go to books. Click on books. Okay, click on books. After clicking on books, go to use. Okay, go to use section. Under use section, you can find manage integrations. Okay, manage integrations. That means these templates can be used for manual load purpose, as well as to automate the process of loading the data from other applications to Fusion applications through integrations. Also we can use it. Okay, what are the manual process we are going to follow that can be used, that the same process you can convert into automation, where you'll integrate third party application with the Fusion, and the data you can bring into the application by using these templates only. That is the reason they're given under manage integrations. So under manage integrations, click on this hyperlink, get started with file based data import. Okay, get started with file based data import, click on this. Now you could see we are under procurement, right? So all the procurement related templates we can find now. What are the procurement related templates we have? All the templates we can see now. Just wait for a while, it is taking time. Yeah. So these are the different templates available for procurement. So now we are looking for templates for suppliers. So here you could see supplier template, supplier addresses template, supplier sites, supplier site assignments. There are many other templates: supplier products and services, supplier business classification, supplier attachments, etc. Those are all related to, just we have supplier also, which we call here as a supplier portal, and many other supplier related functions. For those they give an additional template. Normally if you want to create the supplier, we need supplier template, supplier address template, supplier site, and supplier site assignments. Okay, we'll go and download those template. Before we go and download, first we'll open those template pages. First we'll open template pages. Just suppliers template page will go and open. Okay, so right click, say open in new tab. First I'll open that. Before we go and download, we'll open it. Supplier. After suppliers, the next template which we need is supplier addresses. Right click and say open link in new tab. And supplier sites. Right click, open in new tab. And supplier site assignments. Right click and click on open link in new tab. Okay, done. So now we need 4 templates for supplier creation. The same we open in the different tabs. This is supplier template, this is supplier address template, this is supplier sites, and site assignments. First we'll go to suppliers template. So here we have a link to download the supplier template. Okay, XLSM template. Okay, this is a template which we have to download. And after downloading this template, we have to prepare with the data, right? So that's what we discussed. We have to prepare with the data. After that, the file we have to convert into CSV, that we have to load into UCM. When we are loading any file, data file into UCM, we have to specify the path, the UCM account. Within the UCM, where we have to place this supplier file. The supplier file we have to place in this path, in this account, PRC, nothing but procurement / supplier / import. In this account we have to upload that file. Okay, so that is the point. Once we upload, so into UCM, the next step would be, we'll be populating the data. What are the data we have in the file, that will be populating in the interface table. We'll be populating the data into which interface table? This interface table. To populate the data into this POZ supplier INT interface table, we have to submit which job. The job name is import suppliers. All the information you can find here, just you have to follow and you have to do it. Okay, the first step is we have to download these 4 files, and we have to prepare the data, and we have to load this data into application in the sequence file. First we'll go and download the suppliers template. How to download? Okay, don't directly click on that link. It won't allow you to download. Right click on this link and say save link as. Okay, say save link as. So right click. Fine, you can just create, say, FBDI AP Cloud INC. This is the name we are using just for identification purpose. This is the folder name I'm giving. Okay, we'll place these templates into this folder, FBDI AP Cloud INC, because same folder we'll use for other data also. Okay, save this supplier template into this folder. Done. The other templates also will go on to download. Supplier addresses. The supplier addresses also that same template. Once we are ready with the data and once we convert that file into CSV, that also we have to upload into the same UCM account, PRC supplier import. So this data will be populated in this interface table, POZ supplier address interface. And we have to use this job name. Anyway, we'll see all this as a part of process, but I'm just trying to say that total information will be available here itself. Fine, just download this supplier addresses template. Right click, same process. Right click on to say save link as and take into the same folder. Done. Now the next template we need is supplier sites. So just right click, say save link as and save to folder. Right, just go to supplier site assignments template. This is the template. Right click, say save link as. Click on save. Done.
Lakshman, why you didn't selected the supplier context? Because supplier context was part of the conversion till R12, right?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that if required. But just to have a transaction with the supplier, not mandatory. That is the reason I'm not doing. Okay. See, if you want to add supplier contacts, also download the template and keep that contact data and upload it. That's it. If you see this process, you can understand. Okay. Fine. So we downloaded templates, right? So we have a supplier import template, supplier address import template, supplier site import template, supplier site assignment import template. Okay, we downloaded these 4 templates. Now we have to prepare these templates with the data. Okay, by default there will be sample data in these templates. By default there will be sample data in these templates. So first we'll go and open supplier import template. For any message say yes. Okay, this is a supplier import template. And for more understanding, detailed understanding, you can just read this instructions and the CSV generation tab. Okay, within this tab, the overview, preparing that table data and loading the data into application and other information which you have to understand when you are working on this process. You can just read. This would be good information to understand. If you get errors, how you can resolve and all, you can find here. Okay, when we are going to do this process, when we are going to execute this, you may just go through this data once. Okay, and just move to the tab called as POZ supplier INT interface. Okay, here this is the sample data they are providing, and here you can click on the tab called as show additional attributes, so that system will display all hidden attributes, also hidden columns also. So this is the sample data we have as a part of this template. Okay, this is a predefined template which we downloaded. Now you can remove complete data except one record, one sample record we can keep for reference. Accordingly, we'll go and create our supplier. Fine, done. So here, and we'll go to the application. So if you just look at supplier creation process, first once you click on create supplier, it will open one pop-up, right? So this pop-up. So here we'll provide the supplier name, business relationship, tax organization type. Then we'll click on create system, will create supplier header. So this, whatever we do here by entering the data and clicking on create, whatever the record system will create, that record will be created by the supplier import template. Okay, this template is equal to what we do in the application to manual process through this form, through this page. That's all. This pop-up. Fine. Now we'll just go and enter this data. Here you could see the star mark indicates the field is mandatory required. So batch ID is not mandatory. Ignore it. Okay. Batch ID is not mandatory. The import action, what we are going to do, we are going to create. We are going to create the new record, or else existing record you can modify also. You can update existing record also. Already you created supplier. Say supplier name you given this name. You want to update with some new name. You can enter. In that case, you have to select update. Then this file you can import where our system identifies supplier name with this name, that would system override with this name. So that's how update function also we can use from this sheet. Now to create the new sheet, just import action should be create, and you can give your supplier name. You can give the supplier name as, I'll say, FBDI supplier. Any name you can just provide. FBDI supplier. Supplier number. So if you provide the supplier number here, system will take the same number. If you don't provide any number, it will follow the running sequence within the application. We have a task called as specify supplier numbering. Okay, so sequence supplier numbering. So through that, whatever the numbers we already given, that number it follows. Otherwise, you can provide any number. System will override with this number the actual number generation. You don't need to enter any number, not required. Let system take whatever the number system is following based on that setup. So primarily import action you have to select as a create. By default it is a create only. Provide supplier name. Supplier name new, it's not required. If you are going to update existing suppliers information, you have to provide. Supplier number is not required. System will create it. If you provide the same number, it will use for the supplier definition. So alternative name is not required. Here tax organization type, it's a mandatory, right? In the process of creating the supplier, tax organization type is mandatory. So you just select any one of the tax organization type. Here by default already is a corporation selected, you can accept the same. Supplier type selection is not mandatory. If you want to enter, you can enter based on how you are going to classify the suppliers, otherwise not mandatory. And business relationship, so here business relationship, if you want to use that supplier for transaction creation, you have to select spend authorized. If you create a prospective, you cannot record the transactions. The prospective need to be converted as a spent authorized, then only you can record the transaction. So select business relationship as a spent authorized. And if the supplier has a parent supplier and alias name and other details, you see all the optional information. So if you want to enter, you can enter here, but all fields are optional. Okay. So tax period and all these are not required. Since this is sample record we are editing, Just the details are there. You can just look into all the columns. Any data is required, you can enter. If you see any data which is not required, those you can remove. Say we want to default payment method as a check. Enter payment method as check, so that header level system will default the check as a default payment method. And go through all these columns. These are the DFF related attributes. So remove this additional data we don't require. Just verify, because whatever the template you download from OER, every template will have a sample data. Just verify all the columns on that. Done. No additional data we have. So whatever data we entered, that only we have as a part of this record. Okay. So import action create, supplier name we provided, and tax organization type we given as a corporation, and the business relationship is spent authorized, and rest of information is not required. If you think that is required for your supplier definition, you can enter, and we given default payment method as a check. So that here if you provide check within the system definition for supplier header, it will mark check as a default. Okay, so this is how we have to enter the data. Okay, this is very just simple information when you talk about supplier header section. So you could compare with this. Whatever the data we enter, based on this system will create the supplier profile or supplier header information. Equal to that, you can provide the same data in the sheet. Based on the sheet, it will create the record in the application. Fine. So after providing the data, you have to go to instructions and to CSV generation. And you have to convert this template into CSV file. So it's very simple. Here we have a tab called as generate CSV file. Just click on generate CSV file. It will create the CSV file. The same file you can place in the same folder. That file you can place in the same folder. FBDI. So POZ supplier int. Okay, interface. Save it. So it is generating the CSV file. Say save, and it will create the zip file. Okay, so CSV and the zip file have been created. Say okay. Now we don't need this file. You can close it. You can just save with the data if you want to save, or else you can cancel it. Fine. Now if you go to this folder, you can see for this is a template, right? Supplier import template. Okay, supplier import template. Within this we entered the data and we converted that file into CSV. So system created one CSV file. The extension is file format is .csv, and system created zip file also. What we can see in the within the zip file, same CSV file, one copy would be available within the zip file. Open that zip file. What we have within the zip file, POZ supplier int.csv. CSV file, what system will do is when you generate the CSV file. Any question?
How can we populate 200K records in this file?
How can we
Populate 200K records in case if needed.
Are we populating anything in this record? We are entering.
So what if my legacy system has 100K records, suppliers?
You can see what normally we do in case of EBS. What is your experience?
We can create a CSV file extract, create some extract,
See what
write a SQL and
yes,
spool
what
that
we
data.
do is always the one first option is you can give that template to the business, they'll be entering. If you see there is a large volume of the data, okay, your technical team will work on it. They will write some extractions. Okay, they'll write the programming and they'll be fetching the data into this template. Okay, if you have large volume of records, you can just talk to your technical team. From the legacy, they'll extract the data into this template. That's all. Okay, they do the programming. They'll extract the data into this template. Once you extract the data into this template you have to convert into CSV. You may take the data into this template through manual process or through programming. That's up to.
And that happens to the through the Golden Gate replication, right?
Yes, you can use the golden gateway. That is one of the option. Okay, or else you can go with some other custom programming logics. That's all about outside of the system. It's not within the application. Okay.
Yeah, Lakshman, I
Yeah.
have one question. Like you said, the supplier number can be auto-generated. So if I have like multiple sources in the sense different types of supplier in one org, or you can say multiple orgs are there. So how this sequencing will work in that case?
It will go in the sequence. It doesn't matter how
No,
many
but
source
no,
of.
but for,
No, 1 second. How
no,
many source of
yeah,
suppliers you have doesn't matter. You may have a 10 systems you might be bringing the data. If you want to get that all the suppliers numbering as it is, what you have to do is you enter that number as a mandatory in the sheet. Then the same number it will follow. Or else you want to manage all the suppliers irrespective of site. All you want to maintain in the application in the sequence. Don't give any number. Even you already have a number for the supplier, and when you are
no,
loading
no,
irrespective of source, system will be taking, and the source you may capture through additional DFF field.
no. What I'm asking is, suppose I have say expense supplier and one is trade supplier. So these two will have say different sequences so that there won't be any number missing.
No,
So
no, no,
how in that case we can map?
no,
Say
no.
1 to 10, expense suppliers will also be 1 to 10, trade will also have 1 to 10.
No,
So in
here,
that case,
application point of view cannot manage the classification based numbering. Okay, here it has to be unique supplier numbering. That classification
okay,
base, if you want to have, you can go with some DFF logic, and that's how
okay,
you can fill that data. Okay, you can have a classification. You can create the supplier type or supplier classification, or it could be some pay group classification you can have, and you can go manage with the DFF. By following that, you may maintain
okay.
the additional numbering. But normal,
And for different orgs also, like for US and UK.
no,
So
no. See,
if
by default, the supplier numbering will works at instance level. It's not country
org or
specific or
anything,
BU
okay,
specific
got
or
it.
some other level. It's entire instance.
Okay,
The same how we
okay.
have it
So
ECS,
if
same day
okay, got it.
solution move to fusion.
Okay, so if one country has a requirement of say supplier number will be say 10 digits and one has say 8 digits, we cannot
We cannot.
incorporate this
The
kind of
standard function
requirement.
doesn't support. We have to look for some personalization,
Okay,
customization, or something else.
okay,
Yep, fine.
okay, Lakshman. And Lakshman, if you can show where that mapping is done, like where that sequence we assign, so that system can know, okay, we have to go and give the sequence here.
What sequence?
Like say supplier number should start from say 1,000 or say 10,000 number I'm talking about.
I mean, we already discussed, right, in the AP configuration. We covered that point.
Okay, okay, maybe I missed that. Okay, I'll go through the video again. I missed that class
Yeah, in the
actually.
setup part,
Okay,
we just gone through it. So
okay, I'll check that, Lakshman.
yeah,
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we have to understand about it. So we just within that zip file system will place the same CSV, and along with that, it will just create one more copy of CSV. Okay, there is no use of this CSV file. You don't need to do anything with this. Just it will generate one additional copy. Now, finally, this is the one which we have to upload into instance. The zip file only we have to upload. Direct CSV file we cannot upload. The process doesn't support. The file should be in the zip file. I mean, the CSV file you have to place in the zip file. That zip file only you can submit to the application. Done. What process we follow? Just download a template and we prepared data. Now we prepared with some sample data. We converted data template into CSV file format. Yes. Now the next step is we have to load that file into UCM. Okay, we'll see how to load that file into UCM, Universal Content Management. To load the file into UCM, okay, I'll just copy this URL. I'll go with other tab. Fine. So go to Navigator. Navigator under Tools. In the Navigator under Tools, we have a task called as File Import and Export. Okay, we have a task called as File Import and Export. Just click on this File Import and Export. So from here, if you upload the file, it will be placed in the UCM. Here say upload. Okay, upload. Here supplier template, the supplier data we are going to upload, right? So supplier data, what is a path? PRC supplier import. In this account, UCM account, we have to place that file. So first browse the file. So here we have file. They have to choose the zip file only. Select it. And this has to be placed in UCM, which account? So the account is PRC. So PRC supplier import. Okay. PRC supplier import. You can say save and close. This file will be placed in the UCM directory. Done. What is the next step? Now, what is the file we placed in the UCM? Within the file we have data. That data we have to populate in the interface table, supplier interface table. So for that, what we have to do is we have to run one job. Go to ESS job page. Under tools, we have to go to scheduled processes, right? Click on schedule new process. Now the data is available in the file. The file is available in the UCM. That file we have to, the file data we have to move to interface, supplier interface. We have to populate the data into supplier interface. For that we have to run the job called as, just type with load interface file for import. There will be a job called as load interface file for import. So this is a common job we use for any data. That could be suppliers data or customers or transactions, any data we use it. As a part of this common job, we use subjob which refers the data. Okay. Load interface file for import. Select this job and say okay. You can see the description of the job. It transfers setup or transaction data files from a user specified location to interface tables. To populate the interface tables from specific file, we can use it. Just say okay, it will ask for the parameters. Now import process, what data we are trying to import, what data we are trying to populate in the interface tables, which data? Suppliers data. So import process, which process we have to select here, you could see that. Supplier data, the import process name is import suppliers. Okay, import suppliers. So that job we have to select. Import suppliers. And data file. Select data file. The data file we have in the UCM, right? Just now we placed. The files which are placed in UCM, those you can find from this parameter. This is the one which we placed. So we placed in UCM, we are able to select from here. Say you may skip the process of placing the file in UCM. In that case, directly you can upload the file from here also. The file you may have on your desktop or in specific path, directly you can select into this parameter. That also will test. Okay, you just select the file here which is available in UCM. Now submit. Once you submit, what system will do is within this file, whatever the supplier's header information is there, that it will populate in the supplier interface. Say submit. Click on refresh. You can monitor the job.
What is the purpose of the control file?
So those control files and all you can use if you are going to use on-premise environment. You can customize this process. In the cloud, we have to follow as it is. You cannot change this FBDI templates. Everything is macros enabled and they read the programming and all. So on-premise case, you just as per your requirement, you can write some validations and all. In case of cloud, no, you have to use as it is. That is the purpose they given it. And again, that control file. Another point is for normal imports, it is not required. But when we are going to use that same templates, see now what are the manual process? We are entering the data, we are populating interface, we are going to import into base tables. So instead of entering the data, you can use the same template for integration purpose also. In the integrations, you can use the same template and you can fetch the data from third party into the template and you can import into interface tables, you can populate interface tables and you can import into base tables. Everything you can automate. In the automation process also, the control files can be used the technical point of view. Okay, but normally if you are going to load, there is no use of the control file. You don't need to touch that. Or else if you are going to use the same solution on your Fusion on-premise environment, yes, you can use those files to change the validations and to go in our own way of loading process with the different validations and stages, etc. Okay, that is the reason they given that. But normally when we deal with the cloud and this kind of conversions, you don't need to go with that control file. It's not required. That you
So
could,
you can
yeah, please.
import only one file at a time, right?
Yeah, import one file at a time with a large volume of the records. Here for sample purpose, we enter only one supplier header information. In that case, we can enter n number of, yeah, one by one only you have to import. At a time, you cannot submit multiple files. See, I'm submitting from my user. You can, in the same instance, you can submit from your user. That will be supported. Okay, that works. But from in one session with one user, one file at a time, you can submit. Okay, you could see the status as this is what we submitted. Transfer file transferred from UCM to interface and load file to interface. The data also imported. If anything wrong with that file, it will just give you some message and you can just find that log file and output file error file below. Say for example, this ended with an error, for example, you can select it and below it will generate the files, output files it will generate. There you can find the reason. Otherwise, only the option is you have to go and write a query and to fetch the data from this interface. So the data which we populated, that would be available in this table, POZ suppliers interface. You can click on this, it will display within this table what are the columns we have and everything, it will list out. Click on the table name, talks about detailed information about the table, POZ supplier interface, that is there as a part of Fusion schema. Object owner is this, object type is table, table space is interface, and within the table that's a primary key and these are the columns and what it stores and the characteristics, all the information you can see. So for supplier loading time, if data is struck in the interface, for example, directly you cannot access, only the option is you have to go and write the query and you can see that. But in case of open invoices, if data got stuck in the interface, you can access to the interface and you can correct the data in the interface level itself. You can resubmit. That's how we'll see that. For this only the option is writing the query. Okay, we'll just go and see that how to write the query also. Just you have to understand how to navigate to that panel. Now anyway, this record is through, okay, without any issues. Now the next step is we have to import the data into base tables. How to import the data into base tables from interface table. So for that also we'll be using the same job.
Hello.
I think not this one.
Hello.
That also will be using the same job name. By using this import suppliers job, we can import the data from this interface table to base table. Any question?
Yeah, Lakshman, I have a question.
Your voice is very low.
Yeah. Can we reuse the supplier CSV or template that we saved before? Can we reuse that?
CSV you cannot reuse it. The reason is the data which you have within that you already loaded into that instance. Reusing in the sense you may use in the other instance. Same data you need in the other instance, you can use it. The same instance, if you want to reuse, the data would be duplicated. It's just CSV you cannot reuse. You can reuse the template by modifying the data. But it's a fresh template or existing template, there is no big difference. All the way you have to prepare with the data. By modifying, you can reuse it.
So,
Template, not CSV.
okay, so the first one, very first one that we saved.
First one, template.
Template.
Yeah, this
Right.
one
That one we can reuse.
Yeah, reuse it. But when you are going to reuse, just it's all about you'll be editing the record, right?
Updating. Right, correct.
Yeah, that you can do it. Or else the same file, this GIF file, you can load in the multiple instances. If you want, for example, same supplier information you need in the 2 instances for different purposes, for example. If you want to do that, yes, you can do that.
And another thing I want to confirm, when you're mentioning that we can get the data from the legacy system and then import that data into the template, is that could be done in SaaS also, or that's only for premise?
Yeah,
Automatically populating the data in the
any environment, in the SaaS, any environment you can. That is integration, third-party integrations. So in the Fusion.
So is there any specific program we need to run, like to bring the data from the legacy into the template automatically rather than manually?
SOA team should work on that process. We don't do it.
So the functional person doesn't need to know what program needs to run and some issue happens, how to fix it, anything like that?
That is a customization. That is a interface. Okay, we have to do the integration. That is a technical task. Once that is done, it's a program, you can run it. If that supplier import suppliers, that is once data is available in interface, you can do it. If data is not available in the interface, being a functional consultant, you cannot do if already that integration is done and all. There could be some process which they implement, running some process from third party which will send the data to this template, and that is a complete customization. How the customization logic they are going to implement, accordingly it will work.
Okay, but that can be done in SaaS also.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, SaaS also will support integrations. You can do in SaaS also, third-party integrations.
Lakshman, sorry to ask you this question, Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
Uploading the zip file to CSV to UCM, I just miss it. How to upload those files to UCM?
So we have a certain navigation, right? Through that navigation, you can go and you can do it.
Okay. Okay, you are going to repeat sometime later.
Play the same video. You can understand here.
Import export.
File import and export. Yes, you have to go to this navigation and just you select your file here. That's all.
Oh, okay, fine.
Select. And
but how we understand? Sorry to ask you.
Yeah, please.
How it understands the path that you are mentioning. It should be like it should go to this location, this file. How this understands?
I'm giving path directly, right? In this process, I'm giving the account path. I am telling to
Oh,
the system, please store this file in the so and so account.
oh, okay. We have information here. Okay, excellent.
Okay, and
Okay.
when we are running this process, just now we submitted, right? Import
So
sub
the account is nothing but the navigation. So the
navigation.
path of the
Exactly.
path of the file. Okay, okay.
Now, when you are submitting load interface file for import, when you are submitting this, I selected process name as a import supplier. Import supplier means what it will do. I mean,
Then
it will understand. I am giving that import supplier. Import supplier means it is connected to that account called as. It will be pointing to the account called as supplier's account.
okay, then it will go to that particular path and will pick the file
And
from
within
there.
that account, whatever the files are available, that system will display. That's what we did. It was showing that
Okay,
we selected as a parameter.
understood, understood. Thank you.
Lakshman, when we are practicing, you'll also provide us with the Excel files that you're showing, right?
You can download it. I no need to provide. Just it's all about the from where you have to download and all. I'm showing, right. You can just go and download
Yes,
and you can do the
that is the template. That is the template that we are seeing in OER.
correct.
The Excel files that you're showing, the data files that you're trying to load, will you also give us those sample data files?
Yeah, if you want, I
Just
can put
CSV
it,
file.
but not
These
required.
files, yeah,
Yeah,
these
just
files
put
that
that CSV file. Yeah.
So the same I downloaded, right? Just the same I downloaded, I prepared, I converted. The same you can do from your
No,
end.
Lakshman,
If
I
you
think
want.
it is CSV file that has that you would have data filled in, right? If someone want to do, you can follow the same what you need to be filled.
But best thing is you can do from the scratch. That would be good experience. Otherwise, just I'll give this file, you will submit means it's not a great job.
Right. Okay.
Do it. See, it's a very from the scratch you have to do that. Then only we can understand. Otherwise, I'll give you the file. You will upload tomorrow. If you are doing, you don't know something means you'll start. It's a simple thing. You follow the same process. Whatever we are doing, I'm doing from scratch, which is very simple. You try in that way. Still, if you need document that files, yes, I'll be sharing. No issues. Anyone. Fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you.
what happens to the zip file after everything is done?
It will ignore in the process. It will just look for that CSV and again it will just look for the data only within that file. System will ignore it in the process. That's how they programmed.
So what if the file has any errors? Like, do we get any errors?
Yeah,
Error
yeah. Here
notifications?
it will show that error status. It will show, and you can select that process job name, and below it will generate the file. You can download error file and log files. Everything it will generate.
Can we resubmit the same file? Like once we correct the file, can we resubmit the same file again?
See, yes, because if something wrong with that file cannot be taken into interface, right? So I'm trying to submit into
Right.
interface. Something went wrong. That means the file totally failed. I can just correct the data. I can correct the data and I can resubmit. I have to resubmit. Again here, say simple example. I got information. For example, I got error message saying that in that file, uh, I given supplier number, for example. The file, say for example, this is what I given supplier number. I just am throwing some error message saying that supplier number is invalid format and all. I just given at the rate etc like this. So I convert into CSV. I convert to CSV. When I submitted, I identified there is error message. Supplier number, what you entered, that is not acceptable string or whatever. So in that case, system generated separate CSV also, right? In the zip file we have CSV and we have separate CSV also. Now you can use the CSV. You can open the CSV and correct it. So the number should be this, for example, and you save it. Now you can go to this zip file. Within the zip file, same CSV we have, right, which has wrong supplier numbering. Delete it. Sorry, it's got deleted. Okay, delete it. After deleting, else total zip file you delete it, nothing wrong, right? Now place this CSV into this file. Now load this CSV file, this zip file into application.
So let's say if we have like more than 200,000 K records and some, all of them are not loaded. Some of them loaded and some of doesn't load.
No other option. This is the option. Okay, because these are the records which are failed to load, right? These are not yet in the application. So when we are loading, it is a very repeated repeated work. Say when you are working for the project, what happens? Say you got 1,000 suppliers data. When you submit, you'll come to know how many records has errors. Again, you will just pass that information to business saying that these are the records errored out, just correct with the sum information. The best example you can take invoices, open invoices. So it will fail. Again, we'll be just highlighting those records and we'll be sharing with the business. They'll be correcting. Again, you'll submit. Again, some errors. Again, you'll submit. Again, error. Till you just process all without any errors. You have to keep working on that. That's how it works. So in this,
instead of that, can we update the POC table?
Sorry?
Correct there. Can we update the POC table, the error condition, can we update and correct in that interface table? POC.
The interface table where the data is getting loaded, right?
No, 1 second. Here, try to understand the point. You are not able to populate the interface. You are failing to do that. Right? The record failed to load in the interface.
Oh, okay. No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah.
If you are trying to import the data into base tables from interface, if data record is failing, yes, you can think on the point. Why can't I go and update the data which is there in the interface?
Yeah.
That is the next step. Now we are not able to take the record into interface. There is no record in the interface with the error. We are not able to take. Okay. So that has to be done outside only. Again, we have to make sure that we are getting into that. In the next step, if there is any validation fails between the interface table data and the base table process, then that is the option which we have to look for. For that also, Oracle is not giving any option to go and change at interface table level for this kind of data. Okay, again you have to correct through this process only. Finally, you have to make sure that the template which you have already very much validated. That's all. In case of open invoices, yes, they are giving the option. The template data you can load into interface. When you are loading the template data, open invoices data, open interface, payables open invoice interface may not have too many validations. It may allow. You loaded data. When you are trying to import into base table, say so payment term is not available in our payables application. The record may fail. In that case, you may go and create the payment terms in the payables. Then you can again resubmit, it will work. Otherwise, something wrong in the record, invalid information, you can directly go and update in the interface table level through spreadsheet. Interface data would be available in the spreadsheet. You can correct it or you can resubmit from the interface itself. That can be imported into base tables. That's how they given. For supplier process, no, only through sheets only you have to manage. For open invoices, they given the option to import through spreadsheet. I mean to correct in the interface level and to resubmit. That's how we have. Okay, fine. I will proceed from here.
I have a question, Lakshman.
Please.
If the data we don't want, we want to delete some records, so we can access the supplier interface table and delete some records.
Yes. You have to write the query. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
You can do that. You can purge it. Simple,
Uh,
like you can go and submit the purge option. It will purge all the records. Or specific.
Okay. So here's the program.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Processes we have.
and
Fine. So
Lakshman,
now
if
we.
we are loading 100 suppliers and hello,
Yeah, tell me, please.
Lakshman, if we are loading 100 suppliers and 100 invoices, and there are like 5 suppliers that are
One
failing
second, one
because of the
second.
invoice number or anything.
100 invoices. Okay, you are talking about 100 suppliers, 100 invoices. No, 100 invoices, which has a different
Both.
suppliers. That is the meaning of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking
100
about both.
invoices,
We are loading
different suppliers.
100 invoices and 100 suppliers.
Yeah, 100 invoices with a different supplier. Yes. Yeah, please.
Oh, no. Okay, let's just say we are importing 100 suppliers. In that case, if there are 2 suppliers that couldn't get that has a wrong information, like let's say invoice number, so it would it fail the whole data to get imported from interface, or would it import the remaining records? So basically, like, would it
It will through. It will
import the 98
the
or
valid
no?
records
None.
will be through in the process.
So this is in case of supplier or also in case of
Any
invoice?
data, any data.
Okay, so the valid will get imported and only the failed record we need to reprocess.
Yeah. In this process, when you're
Okay.
trying to, populate the interface, it happens. It will through. But when you are trying to import from interface to base tables, normally system through spreadsheet, if you are doing, it will be asking the option. If some record fails, do you want to continue or you want to stop the process? Okay,
But
normally.
suppliers and invoices both are different entities, right? Why are we mixing it here?
No,
Supplier
we are not
conversion is
mixing.
different and
See,
invoice conversion.
basically that was the
No,
question. The
the
reason I was
question
telling that.
the question she's putting it lies like she's mixing the both of them.
No, yeah. See, that's
The
what.
suppliers and invoice.
Finally, she made a different question. Only suppliers. Okay, fine. That's how it works. Okay, any records, just those are very valid information. It will through.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Lakshman.
Yep. Thanks. Fine, done.
Lakshman, this is Srini. The question is, the question which she asked just now, 100 records, out of 100 records, the 5 records are errored out, let us say. 95 got loaded to the staging table, which is POC, whatever, the staging table, and 5 records which are errored out. We have to edit the Excel spreadsheet again, that CSV file, take out the 95 which are loaded,
Yes.
and we have to
No.
correct those corrected 5 records.
No. Even the same file is say 95 records are loaded again. You can go to the sheet 5 records. You can resubmit. System will verify these are already in place of interface, already placed in interface or not. You don't need to remove and you don't need to make 5 and all. You can resubmit the same file. After correcting that unique records only, it will accept it to interface. You don't need to go on the.
Excellent. That is loading.
No need to do that.
That's the point actually.
Yeah.
It's loading.
You can
new
do that,
table.
or else.
Is it clear?
Yeah, or else you can simple task you can do. You can just submit purge for interface data. Okay, you can submit purge option. You can submit the job. You can select to purge the interface table. So total data will be purged, removed, and you can again with the correct. Once you correct the data, you can resubmit the same record. Again, the total data will be fresh records. It will be placed in the interface. Any option you can.
Yeah. It's something like delete from the table and reload the table.
Delete, yes. Fine. So now the data is in the interface. Okay. So once you've done this process, what you could do is you refresh the navigation. Refresh once. Otherwise, it won't work in expected way. Just refresh. Same like we are navigating to schedule process page only. After submitting this load interface file for import, you refresh the navigation. Now, which job you have to submit? Import suppliers. Why we are running? To import the data from interface to base tables. Go to submit new process. Say import suppliers. import suppliers, say OK. So what it will do, it creates and updates supplier from the data in the supplier open interface. The supplier interface, what are the data we have, based on the data it will create new record, or else the record maybe to update the existing suppliers data. Now in our case it's a new record. Say OK and submit. So the import options and all, like it's a new only, you can accept the same default parameters. Just say OK and just monitor this job. Import suppliers. So what name we given? We given FBDI supplier, right? FBDI supplier. Now system will create only supplier record, supplier profile, header part. So before system complete this job, we'll just go to the supplier page. Yeah, done, completed and succeeded. Done. So now just go to suppliers. Under procurement, we have suppliers, right? And here you don't need to, just you can search by navigating to manage suppliers, you can search and find. So before going with that navigation, simply you can find that supplier here, scroll down, just we are taking the navigation, that's all. So what you are doing, just go to procurement section, click on suppliers. We'll be landing on this suppliers related dashboard. So what you could do is you can search and find. Instead of doing that, scroll little down. Okay, here you could see suppliers with incomplete setup. What is that incomplete setup? No address. Any supplier is there? Yes. Just now we loaded supplier called as FBDA supplier. That supplier doesn't have any address. So under this section you can find it. Okay. The same you can search and find from here also, or else click on the same name, it will open. Go to manage suppliers. FBDA supplier. Just now we loaded. You can click on edit. So system created supplier based on the spreadsheet. Okay, and we given payment method as check in the spreadsheet, so that would get defaulted here. See, go to payments, that you can see as it's marked as a default one. That's all. So this is what we given, name we given, tax organization type and business relationship, and only we given the payment method as a check, that got defaulted, and the source of this supplier creation is import. Yes, we just now imported this supplier record. So that's how we have to create the supplier. So the next step is will be creating the address. Now as of now, no address for the supplier, right? The addresses will be creating the spreadsheet. After addresses, sites, after sites, site assignments, all we will be doing. Okay, that's how it works. So fine, done.
So Lakshman, Lakshman, the possible, all possible interfaces, did they produce this kind of methodology, or still they are developing?
No, I didn't understand. Possible interfaces.
My question: possible interfaces, meaning PO, PO invoice, POs, and AP will have invoices, suppliers, like this. The possible open interfaces, they produce this kind of methodology.
Yeah. See, in case of EBS, so not very normally for which data we perform this data conversions, for all those interfaces we have this process.
This is bad. technical folks don't have a job.
Yeah,
How
no
the
doubt.
consulting business will work? Yeah.
Yeah. Because in traditional implementation, so as a mandatory, at least for this process, we need technical guys, right? It could be vanilla
Yeah.
implementation. Still, we need at least for these conversions technical guys. But now, not required.
Lot of technical
No,
folks
it's not like that,
will be
Lakshman.
laid off. Yeah.
When companies use a PaaS environment, then definitely
Yeah,
there's a lot of
when
technical work
company use
required, and
PaaS, that is a condition, right?
yeah.
Yeah, when even if
So and
simple.
companies cannot just survive with SaaS environment at all. They need to have the
One second.
PaaS and
One second. There are many companies who are using SaaS only, and even if companies are using SaaS also, they need technical consultant for the SOA integrations. But it's not too much of effort is required. Technical effort is required. Okay, say if you take normal EBS implementation, if they are going to use one technical resource for 2 months duration, for example, in the overall project duration, say 2 months they are going to use out of 1 year duration of the project, but here they may use technical resource for 10 days. That's all.
yeah, but when client requires multiple reports, for example, in general ledger, then I'm just giving an example of my
Ravi, one second.
like
I understand. See, we are not saying technical consultant is not at all required. Okay, resource. I mean, in case of EBS, if 10 resources are required here, 2 resources are enough. That is the point. Okay. So not only that, there are many other aspects which will reduce the technical work and which simplifies the technical work where we don't need to spend that much of time and the complexity of working on technical components. So that is the meaning of that. We need technical consultant, not same as EBS demand. Okay, we need it. Fine. So, so it's already 7:30. We can stop here for today. We'll continue in the tomorrow session. We'll be loading the addresses, site assignments, and we'll continue to do the same process for open invoices also in the tomorrow session. Any questions from anyone from today's session, please?